Richard Hunter, Martin King, Jaron Matt, Carrie Phillips, Cindy Anderson, Nick, Brad, Rodrigo, Yermit, Catherine, Ronaldin. All right, awesome. Now, for all of you guys that have your cameras on, thank you. So thank you, Barbara, Rick, Mike, John, Peter, Lizzie, Richard, Ron, Jose. We need a lot more people's cameras on. So here's what's good. What I'm doing is I'm mimicking you. Does that make sense? So Randall taught me is you try to mimic your audience. So what I did first is a lot of us hide behind the camera. Raise your hand if you can hear me. Raise your hand if you can hear me. Now I'm seeing who has a still photo. Rick, I love your photo. I actually thought you were live, but you haven't moved the whole time. So have you jump on there. Okay. So I was like, holy cow, that guy's like just leaning on his house the whole time. All right, so here's the purpose of this exercise. Number one is I want you to write down what's your number one concern in today's real estate market as a real estate investor. Number one, Catherine, your hair looks awesome. What is your number one concern as a real estate professional in today's real estate market? And type it in the Zoom chat. And guys, I need you to be honest. Don't worry that Randall's on the call. He's not going to judge you. He just wants to help you. I want you to write down in the Zoom chat bar, what is your number one concern as a real estate professional in today's market? Okay, that's number one. Number two, I want you to write down what is the number one concern your clients have in today's market. What is the number one concern that your clients have today in today's market? Okay, you guys write down that. So number
This is good. This is probably the most interactive one that we may have ever done.
Number three. So number one, we identified what is your number one concern as a real estate professional. Number two, what is your client's concern? So Emily, you're staring at me. I love it. I love how you raised your hand. Okay. Number three, how concerned are you about financial freedom? Number three, how concerned are you about financial freedom? So the reason I'm having you guys write this down for the 38 people, looks like we lost a couple people. The reason I'm having you write this down is so that I can serve you for the next 43 minutes right now for this time. Okay. So now of those three topics, we picked topic number one. What are you concerned about the market as a real estate investor, not a professional, right? As a real estate investor. Number two, what is your concern for your real estate clients? And then number three, what is your concern about financial freedom? So now what I'd like you guys to do, here's why. I want you guys to write down what is most important to you. And here's how I'm going to modify my presentation. So you either write down 1, 2, or 3 in the Zoom chat, please. You're either going to write 1, 2, or 3, because what I'm doing is I'm sharing with you guys what you want. I'll cover the other topics also, but I need you guys to share in the Zoom. So Barbara, Mike, Kelly, Joe, iPhone, Stephanie, John, Catherine, Brad, I need all of you guys to type in the chat what's your number one, either 1, 2, or 3, so that I can give you guys what the overall audience is looking for. So I have like the same 5 people participating, which is amazing. We know about the 80-20 principle. All right, so we got a bunch of 3s. We got some 2s and 3s. We have some 2s and 3s. All right, man, we're all over the place, which is awesome. Okay, so here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna cover all 3 in about 15-minute segments. I'm gonna give this fire hose style. So I would love your guys' cameras on. It feeds my energy. Raise your hand if you've ever been to a Tony Robbins event. Raise your hand so I get an idea. I'm watching. We got 3 or 4. Okay, nope. Richard's saying no. So Richard did a great job. I didn't say shake your head if you didn't go to a Tony Robbins event, right? I said raise your hand. I love it. I love that you're participating. All right, so Tony Robbins teaches that success is 80% psychology and 20% strategy. I'm going to have you guys write that down one more time. Success is 80% psychology, 20% strategy. Tyler, I'm okay. Oh, that's Tyler Bond. I'm okay that you're not participating while you're driving. All right, what's up, buddy? All right, so success is 80% psychology, 20% strategy. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to reverse engineer financial freedom Dominic is going to share in the chat an exercise we're going to do right now. It's called a long-term goal form, okay? Dominic is going to share in the chat. If you guys are home, I want you to print this off. If you're driving, we'll email it to you. Is that okay, Randall, with everyone? Randall, that's
Sure.
okay? Okay, cool. So what I'd like to do is Dominic's going to share this long-term goal form. I'm going to do this exercise with you. I just came back from a Tony Robbins finance event up in Sun Valley, Idaho. And Randall is a better storyteller than I am, so I'm going to tell the story. Here's what happened. There's 450 people at the Sun Valley Ski Lodge up in Sun Valley. They're from all over the world. We basically pay $75,000 to $80,000 a year to belong with what's called Platinum Partners. Platinum Partners means you get to hang out with Tony Robbins at these different events, okay? This event was an $11,000 event for 5 days. We listened to 7 billionaires, and I wrote down the billionaires' net worth because when they got on stage or they shared virtually, I looked it up because I really wanted to confirm that they're billionaires, okay? Here's 3 things that they all shared conceptually across the board. Now, Kyle, who's in his car right now, who's got a white hoodie underneath his jacket, you look great, Kyle. You might say, well, what does a billionaire have and I have in common? Lots of things. We're human, we care about our families, and we want to be able to make an impact. Raise your hand if you guys agree with all 3 of those things are important to you. Raise your hand if those are important to you guys. Okay, cool. So they just happen to have a different 0. So with that, they talked about their long-term goals, okay? And they actually talked about financial freedom. Here's what we recognize. Most people in today's financial environment do not have what's called a spending plan. So raise your hand if you actually review your monthly budget every single month. Raise your hand real quick. Ooh, good, about half of you. That's awesome, great job. So Dominic's gonna share in the Zoom chat a spending plan that my wife and I utilize ourselves. I'm not gonna spend 30 minutes going over the spending plan and how to fill it out, but I wanna give you the tools and resources that I've used for myself since I got married. I got married in 2007. So now you might be saying, why is this guy on here sharing really quickly? Here's a 30-second background. I've been a mortgage lender since the end of 2001, helping veterans like Randall all throughout the United States. As the market started getting more heavier or more deals in Utah, I started just focusing on Utah deals. During the down, I call it the market correction of 2008. It's not a crash. Write this down. What we say makes a difference. It was a market correction. It was an amazing opportunity to buy more assets. During the market correction of 2008, I started buying properties, fix and flips, buy and holds, and more rentals. Right now, I own 106 rental properties. That's a mix between single families and a 12 unit. So a 12 unit would count as 12 doors. A duplex would count as 2 doors. Okay. So right now, what I learned at Tony Robbins, and I want to share this with you, is what we want to do is we want our passive income. We want our passive income to replace our active income. Write that down, please. Our passive income to replace our active income. You're Matt, you look like you're really studying. I love it, okay? As we have our passive income replace our active income, there's 3 ways to do that that are common but not done in real estate. Number 1, you have to own rentals. Please write this down. You've got to buy rentals. It is more important that you buy something than you don't, as long as it hits your financial numbers. And Randall would shake his head because he would agree. Number 1, you got to buy something. So quick story. In 2008, raise your hand if you're a realtor in 2008. Raise your hand real quick. Hold on, keep your hand. Hold on, I got 1, 2, 3, 4. Ooh, only 4, 5, 6, good. Here's the cool thing about Zoom. Whoever has their cameras on, I can tell, are participating, so thank you. So in 2008, I bought a property in Ogden for $32,500. I want everyone to grab your financial calculator. You're gonna grab a calculator real quick. We're gonna do, here's the power of leverage, okay? So Ron Dennison, we bought a property in 2008 for $32,500. I sold the property in 2015, excuse me, I bought it in 2010. I bought it in 2010. I sold the property in 2015 for only $65,000. Okay, so here's my first exercise for all of you realtors. How much did my value go up? I bought the property for $32,500. I sold it for $65,000. How much did my values go up? Please type in the Zoom chat bar, or because you're realtors, you're outgoing, raise your hand and we'll have you share. Right in the Zoom chat bar. Not having anyone write down on the Zoom chat bar yet. So how much did my value go up from $32,500 to $65,000? Type in the Zoom chat bar. Well, I'm gonna mirror you guys. I'm not gonna show my face. Hold on. There we go. See, I'm just playing with the audience, right? All I'm doing is I'm showing up half of you guys. Now, for those of you guys that are driving, I'm okay that I can see Kyle sitting in his car, Tyler's smiling, he's engaged, he's got to get a prenup, right? All right, I showed back up again. What am I doing this for? It's to get you guys to participate and play full out, right? It's getting you guys to participate. So my value went up $100,000. Here's awesome. Here's what I learned from Randall. I took that property and I did what's called a 1031 exchange. Please write that down unless you're driving. A 1031 exchange. Raise your hand. Actually, type in the Zoom chat bar if you've done a 1031 exchange before, please. Type in the Zoom chat bar if you've done a 1031 exchange before. Yeah, we did a funky one for Tyler. Right in the Zoom chat bar. No, I didn't. If you've done a 1031 exchange. All right, I got one yes. It's like it's the same 5 people participating. Thank you guys. Now here's what's interesting. I'm giving you the opportunity for all of you to participate. Okay, so cool. This was my first 1031 exchange. Raise your hand if you guys all remember your first, right? We all remember our first time eating filet, going on a date with your spouse, significant other, your first divorce, whatever it is, okay? So with that being said, hopefully you guys smile. Here's what I did. Randall, because I learned from the Salt Lake Real Estate Investors Association, I've been a member since 2008. I don't want to exaggerate. I went in 2008. I bought a non-conforming duplex for $255,000. So grab your calculator, guys. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to do a quick exercise. This has everything to do with your long-term numbers. I bought it for $255,000. I learned this from Bill Bronchek. Randall Wall and I both have learned from Bill Bronchek. Randall's the OG. You guys know what OG is, original gangster. Randall's my first mentor here in Utah. Bill Bronchek's my first mentor out of Utah in real estate. He talked about the 5-5-5, okay? It's 5% down, 5% interest with at least a 5-year balloon payment. That's a minimum. 5-5-5. 5% down, 5% interest for a 5-year balloon payment. Ron Dennison and I actually signed up for Bill Bronchek coaching at the same time in 2014, okay? Now his goatee is better than mine. My hair is better than his. So it keeps progressing, right, Ron? So his goatee is better than mine. My hair is better than his. So here's what's cool. I teach people real estate investing, and I taught this to one of my clients named Joy Porter. Randall, is Joy Porter still, is she with you or is she with someone else now?
Yep.
Okay, cool. So Joy brought me this property. So here's the nice thing. I taught it to someone else. They found it and they brought the deal to me. So if I buy a property for $255,000 and only put 5% down, please type in the Zoom chat bar, how much money is that? I'm going to say that one more time. If I buy the property for $255,000 and I only put 5% down, how much is that in the Zoom chat bar? Good, $12,750. So I only had to pay the seller $12,750,000 plus a real estate commission for Joy. Okay, now here's what's nice with that. Not only did I buy one property, now let me go back. I sold my property for $65,000. I bought my property in Ogden for $32,500 cash. Okay, I sold the property and I had about $20,000 down on one property because I paid the real estate commissions outside of closing. There's deal number one. So here's a question. If you just bought one duplex and you sold a single, who would be happy with that? Raise your hand. If you'd be happy with that. You sold a single family, you bought a duplex. Me too. I was happy. So here's what made it better. Joy told me saying, Matt, this seller happens to have a non-conforming duplex also I'm working on. Would you be interested? And I said, hell yeah, I'm interested. Okay. So I said, it was a little bit more. It was $5,000 more because it needed more work. Okay. $5,000 more. So I bought this one for about $260. Sorry, $10,000 more. I bought it for $260. Here's what I needed again. 555. 5% down, 5% interest, 5-year balloon. Now I want you guys, if I bought it for $260,000, I put 5% down. Please tell me what the down payment is. Having you guys start thinking through this process so you do this on your own. So if I bought the property for $260,000, I put 5% down. What is the down payment on that? Great job, Jeff. You were participating. I love it. Okay. I also paid her a 3% commission. Okay. I paid that outside of pocket. So about $20,000, $13,000 for a down payment, $13,000, and then about $8,000 for the commission. $12,750 for the first down payment, $7,800 in the commission. Okay. Now, who would be happy if you bought a non-conforming duplex, a non-conforming fourplex with one sale? Raise your hand. Raise your hand if you guys would be happy with that. Okay, that's pretty sick. Even Rick's goatee, like, is super manicured. Rick, I love your goatee. I just love goatees from guys. Okay, or beard. He's got a beard, not a goatee. He's like, don't discriminate me. Okay, I got it. Got it on the side. Okay. Now let me guess. Let me keep getting better. Okay, and here's the power of real estate. Here's what we're covering. Number one, in 2015, what was the market doing? Raise your hand if you want to share. What was the real estate market doing besides Randall in 2015? Let's see who's experienced in here. I got no one raising their hand, or they can put their hands down. Emily, are you still raising your hand on that question? Emily, oh no, she's not. Okay, you want to unselect your hand then so I don't pick you.
Yeah,
right,
when
Jeff
you lift your
Tomlinson,
hand
you're
up.
raising your hand.
Yeah. I was
I'm
going to say,
gonna
when
call
you
on
lift
you.
your hand
Okay,
up, it
cool.
automatically does that. So yeah.
Yep. Randall, what was the market doing in 2015, please?
That was actually just starting to move upwards a little bit. It wasn't great.
Yep. So what the bottom? Yeah, the market was kind of like at its bottom and gradually going up. Okay.
Yeah.
So here's the cool thing. People are always going to give excuses why they don't own real estate. We guys write this down. People will always give excuses why they don't own real estate. The market's going down. The rates are too high. There's no deals available. We can't buy them 40 cents on the dollar any longer. It needs too much work, right? So what did Tony Robbins say? Type in the Zoom chat bar. Remember, success is what? I'm reinforcing this because I talk to 8 to 15 people every day for about 15 minutes. They have mostly the same challenges. What does Tony Robbins say about success? 80% psychology, 20% strategy, okay? So, deal 2. Now, let me tell you how I made this better. You're Met. Hopefully I said your name correctly. I like your white shirt. You're Met. Okay, so here's how I made the deal better. There was another realtor that had another property with seller financing, okay? And the owner wanted $10,000 out of their pocket. That's it, because they had to move out of state. The realtor just wanted a commission. I bought the property for $189,000. These are all in Utah, by the way. These are not in like Ohio or Tennessee or the Ozarks. Has anyone ever seen Ozarks, by the way?
Beautiful.
Person. She's like, oh, I like Ozarks. I'm like, all right, cool. All right. So these are in Utah, right? This is in Utah. Yeah, it's an election year. Great. I like that one. It's an election year. Or it's COVID. Or the All-Star game is in Utah. Whatever the excuses, okay? So I bought this property for $10,000 out of pocket plus a real estate commission. So here's what I did. Let's go back. I bought a property in 2011 for $32,500. I sold it in 2015 for $65,000. I bought 3 properties from seller financing. 1, a non-conforming fourplex worth $260. 2, a non-conforming duplex for $250. 3, a house in Marmalade for $189,000. Now, here's my question. The fourplex is in Sugar Hood. Does anyone know where Sugar Hood is? Sugar Hood is just west of 7th East. People that live there want to call it Sugar House. Now they call it Liberty Wells because it sounds better than Sugar Hood, but I still call it Sugar Hood, okay? The duplex, the non-conforming duplex is also in Sugar Hood. And then I bought a house in Marmalade. So Randall, here's a question for you. You're a super smart guy. If I bought the duplex for $255, and let's say I bought it, let's say it was worth $300. I got it at like 90 cents on the dollar. Yeah, 85 cents on the dollar. So Dominic's gonna help me with this. So the value is $300, and then the fourplex value is $350, and the Marmalade property is $225. How much do you think those are worth in today's market in average condition? Not pimped out. I know you're very experienced, but what do you think in today's market, Randall, those are worth today?
Probably about 1.5, I would guess, maybe 1.8.
Okay. Okay, cool. 1.5, 1.8. That pretty good, guys? Raise your hand if you'd like to do that, right? Okay, so here's what's cool. I did not know how to do this. Okay, so I had been investing I started in 2004. When I went to Ogden, it was in 2010, so only 6 years. When I sold my 1031, did a 1031 exchange, I'd been investing 11 years. Now it's 8 years later, okay? So what I'm going to show you guys is the power of leverage through investing. Most realtors underutilize leverage. If you guys want to write that down, Tyler, don't, I got you. Most realtors underutilize leverage, okay? So I'm going to send you guys some articles on understanding leverage, because how to build a real estate portfolio to complement your real estate career is, one, analyze a property, like a property a day. Should only take you 20 minutes. One, analyze a property a day. Two, write an offer 2 a week for yourself. Heaven forbid you get it. What's the worst thing happens if you get it? You assign it to someone else, right? You assign it to someone else, you make a real estate commission, and you make an assignment fee. Heaven forbid you take action. Number 3, you actually buy it, right? So we're going to do this one more time. Analyze property today, a property a day. Number 2, write 2 offers a week. Number 3, buy a property. Own a property. Own some assets. So here's what we're going to do. Dom, can you type in the Zoom chat, please, the values of what we shared? And Randall, I think you said was 1.3. Is that what you said? That's the future value?
No, I said probably 1.5, 1.8. I think it's probably double.
Okay, 1.5 to 1.8.
2015. Yeah.
Okay, 1.5 to 1.8. All right. All right, I'm going to share this with all of you guys that want to invest in other markets, okay? Awesome. Okay, so this is called the FHFA, Federal Housing Finance Agency.gov. Raise your hand if you guys can see this. Raise your hand. Okay, cool. Dominic, I'm gonna send this to you guys in the chat after. Okay, here's what we do. Here's what I do. If you're gonna invest in other markets outside of Utah, here's how you can calculate what the future value is. This is an amazing way that you guys can determine where you want to go. So I'm gonna do Utah real quick. Let's go Utah. Right here, okay? And I'm gonna go Salt Lake County. And I'm going to show you guys when I bought those properties in 2015. Let's say I bought them in second quarter of 2015. Okay, second quarter of 2015. And I'm going to evaluate it till last quarter of last year. And I believe I said I bought the first property for $250,000. What it does is it takes government's information, right or wrong, and tells us what that property is worth. So hypothetically, oh, sorry. I said that property is worth 300, even though I bought it for 250. So let me cut. All right, 300. All right, so that property is worth $638,000 hypothetically. Now it doesn't know the difference of West Valley and the East Side, or downtown Salt Lake, or South Salt Lake County, but it's just giving some general information. So let's call it So here's our peak, right? So our peak was 7.707 second quarter. Wow, that's crazy. That's so fun. I love it. I love that's correcting because it'll provide more opportunities. So there's deal one. Dom, if you could type that in the Zoom chat, please, 638. Now let's analyze deal number two, okay? We thought that one was worth 350. We're gonna go 350. That one's worth 744,000. If I sold it 2 quarters ago, 819, I'm not focusing on that. I'm saying 744. Okay. Then we have the Marmalade property. That Marmalade property was probably worth 225. Okay. And that one's worth 478. Okay, 478. So we're more than halfway through. I'm not sharing this. I'm sharing this to make ideas for you. Tyler, are you at freaking Home Depot? You got to get out of that, dude. So here's my examples. I want you guys to learn how to utilize the tools that are available that are being underutilized by real estate professionals. I'm going to say that one more time. I want you guys to learn to utilize tools that are available that are underutilized by real estate professionals. If you plan to go buy out of state, I heard Randall say, do you own like some farms in Panama, Randall? What type of fruit farms or something?
Yeah, Josh, it's a mango farm.
Mango farm. All right. Okay. So guess what? If you're going to buy mango farms in Panama, which great job if you choose to, just be familiar with what the values are, right? So
Right.
Randall, I think you guys own any real estate in Nepal?
Yes.
And if I remember correctly, it is more expensive to get the buildings, but the rents are not very high. Is that correct?
Yes, the land and buildings are more expensive than they are here, but the rents are a mere fraction.
Okay, cool. So here's a good example. Know your audience, right? You guys got to know where you're going. So I'm typing this in the Zoom chat right now so you guys can all use this data, okay? So let's go back to what we covered. Number one, covered some long-term goals. So here's what we're going to do. Number two, we talked about what's happening with the market, right? Our concern versus our client's concern. Now let me share what I think of interest rates for a minute. And no one knows this, only God and the real estate gods know, okay? So here's the cool thing. As rates go up, that puts pressure down. Everyone knows that, right? If you guys want, raise your hand if you guys got that. Wallace Nunez is going to drink his green cup of coffee. I love it, okay? So if you guys want to learn more about interest rates, there's a gentleman named Barry Habib. You guys maybe want to check that out once a week, or you could ask your mortgage professionals. Here's my opinion of mortgage professionals. They don't know either because we're all speculating, right? If you asked me a year ago saying, hey, Matt, rates would be in the 7%, what do you think? I'm like, no way, that's not going to happen. And then here we are right now, right? So we're not sure. So rates definitely influence. Here's what I'm doing to take advantage of the market. I'm buying the properties that were getting outbid by 10 to 15% last year because I know in the future those are going to go up more. Does that make sense? So if I can cash flow and if I can stomach my long-term goals, I'd rather buy a fourplex for $775,000 now than get outbid $950 last year. Does that make sense with everyone? Raise your hand if that makes sense. Like that's a huge discount. I'll manipulate the rates because there's just more properties available. There are landlords right now that are willing to sell. They're just not on the MLS. That might be an amazing skill, Jose, for you to develop, is buying properties from landlords that are done being landlords they still want cash flow though. So John, I love your you got who's the guy that has an axe? Paul Bunyan. John Songup is wearing a Paul Bunyan shirt. I love it, John. So here's my, and Randall's got a Paul Bunyan shirt on too. Here's why I'm sharing this with Randall. When Randall would share how he would buy properties in rural Washington or Oregon or Idaho, wherever he was able to control the properties because he actually bought them, right? You're able to control real estate by buying it or owning it. If you guys want to write that down. If I could just like say, hey, what did we take away from Matt? Here's what we took away from Matt. Number one, you control real estate by owning it. Number two, Analyze your properties and plan with the end in mind. Stephen Covey says, right? Plan with the end in mind. Lizzie, I like your energy. Lizzie, if you can own your property for 10 years, sell it and do a 1031 exchange, and you can do that 3 times in your life, you will be very wealthy as long as you don't get divorced and nothing catastrophic happens for health. Randall, do you agree with that?
I
You
agree
can
with
have a
that.
30-year cycle. Every 10 years, you sell the property, you buy a better one. Now, there's 3 reasons of why you want to buy something new. Number 1, it's in a better asset class. So, for example, going from a single-family residency to a duplex is improving the asset class. You guys see that one? Shake your head. Yeah, makes sense. Okay, cool. Number 2, a better area. So I'm from Midvale. Anyone from Midvale? Jose looks like he's from Midvale. Dominic and we're from Midvale. I love Midvale. But if I'm going from Midvale, downtown Midvale, like in the avenues, downtown Midvale, and I'm going to downtown Salt Lake on the east side of the freeway, that's a better area, right? More desirable. People want to pay more, okay? Number 3 is you want to buy with the property is newer, okay? The property is newer. So newer property, better area, and better use. So here's what I want to do for you guys to make sure you guys can all apply this. I'm going to explain the most underutilized way to own real estate, and that's with hard money. So I'm going to share this with you guys how to do it, okay? Buy a property, you analyze a property, you need to buy it at 70% of ARV. 70%
After repair
of
value.
ARV.
So
After repair value, okay? After repair value. So there's a difference of your as-is value and your ARV, okay? 70% of ARV. You can get what's called a hard money loan from an investor, depending on your hard money lender. I do hard money lending. It's 70% of the ARV. Now, in the market decline that we have or correction that we have right now, they might require you to put a little money down. But if you buy a property with enough juice, as I call it, you can buy it as 70% of ARV, okay? Then, but before you buy that, you got to make sure you can get a mortgage, right? So raise your hand. All of you guys need to make sure you can get a mortgage before you go put a property under contract so you can refinance it, okay? And the reason why you want to make sure you can get a mortgage is you don't want that hard money loan being due and you can't refinance or flip it, and then you're going to have a notice of default, okay? So you got to make sure you can get a mortgage, okay? So here's what we're going to do right now. I'm going to show you a property right now that we just put under contract this last week from one of a coaching clients of ours, so you guys can see how we analyze it, okay? So it's real time. This is not BS. This is a coaching client that ironically put this under property right now. I'm going to show you how. Raise your hand real quick. Who's bought a property with hard money and refinanced it? Raise your hand real quick. Who's actually bought a property? Only a few of you. Okay, good. This is good. Okay, so we got 11 minutes left. This is all right. So you guys see my screen?
Yep.
Okay. So here's what we do when we analyze the property. We get a property, we get a video. You guys write this down. This is a sequence. I'm not going to email this to you. We get the property, we get a video. We always get a video so we know what the hell the property looks like. Okay, and it's easy. You can send it to your contractors. You can send it to other investors. It walks around the video. Okay, then we analyze the property. I learned this from Randall and some other investors. So here's the property information. Shows where the map is, okay? I always want the tax data. So this one does not have the tax data, but I'm going to show you guys the brief report. So here's a brief report. Here's why I learned a brief report. This is me personally, I learned this from appraisers during the market correction. I want the list price on the left and the sold price on the right. I personally like to view my properties with list prices first, least expensive to most expensive. Then I'm seeing the market shifting. So as a quick glance, I see this one's listed for $379, $400, $416, $424.9, $465. These are all split level houses within a 1 mile radius, within 10% of the gross living area. I'm going to say that one more time. These are all split level houses within a 1 mile radius, within 10% of the gross living area for comps, right? So we want to have accurate comps. Okay, number 2, I'm going to show you guys the sold comps. I want a map. Here's why I want a map. If you guys invest in other parts of the country, you got to know the dividing lines. So this is West Valley, Kearns area, right? Those are all going to be pretty similar values. Would you guys agree with that? Raise your hand if you agree. Yep. Those are going to be pretty similar values. Now, if it was Taylorsville, Taylorsville is worth more than Kearns. So if the property's in Taylorsville, I know it's going to be worth more, okay? So I want a map. Here's the next thing I want. I want photos of the 3 most expensive active properties. Don't want a CMA. I want photos of the 3 most expensive active properties. Then I know it's called modeling. Here's the cool thing. In 2009, Randall had a contest and said, whoever brought the most Sloria members to a meeting that month can come pick my brain for 2 hours. And I brought the most. And I brought Riley Rogers as my guest. And we met at his office. I learned a ton of stuff that I didn't know about real estate. Okay. So you want to model what other people are doing. You don't want to make it what you would live in. You want to make it what the market lives in. And Randall told me about slate tile, which I'll never forget. It's on a property on 40th West. He said, Matt, slate tile is awesome, but it's really specific. I'm like, okay. So I never did slate tile again. But guess what I have in my house? Slate tile, okay? So that's the point I'm sharing with you. You got to use with what other people know. So as you know this, so we analyze the properties. What do we do next? Now we're going to go to the solds. Why do we go to the solds? Is because those are what our comps are, right? Now, those are our comps now. So we have 375, 396, 399, 408, 416, 405, 417, 415, 422, 422, 449, 445, 450, 425, 465, 463.8. Awesome. Now, I'm going to show you guys a brief report of the photos with this. So here's what we learned real quick. Raise your hand if you just learned how to analyze properties differently. Raise your hand real quick. No one, everyone already knew how. Okay, good. A lot of people are raising their hands. Okay, so I like the raw data. I don't like CMAs. CMAs can be manipulated however you want to make yourself feel good. I'm going to say that one more time. CMAs can be manipulated however you want to make yourself feel good. We want you to have raw data for you to analyze, okay? And if you're not familiar, that's why we learn. So here's what we do. We confirm we can get approved for a mortgage. Number 2, we confirm that the ARV is enough, has enough juice, right? So we're buying this property for $296,000. Our ARV is 440. Grab your calculator. Let's figure it out real quick, okay? This is how you analyze properties quickly. The ARV is 440. We're buying it for 296. What's our loan to value on that scenario? Jose, you better write that one down in the chat. I want you guys to type in the chat. Is this a good property potential for a buy and hold? Okay, we haven't focused on the repairs yet. We're just analyzing the ARV versus the purchase price. So our ARV is 440. Our purchase price is 296. This is not listed on the MLS. Tell me what's the loan to value in that scenario? I know Randall knows the answer, but I need everyone else to type it in. Randall, do you mind explaining how to figure that out real quick for those that are just staring at their cameras, please?
So, I mean, typically, here's what we're doing. We start with the end in mind, which is what Matt said. This is what the high comparables are, right? And so if the high comparable is going to be, 400,000, right, which is what Matt said the end result was, 70% of 400,000 is $280,000. Okay. So, and typically I would look in there and then I would subtract out my repair costs, et cetera. Is that what you're looking for, Matt?
Yeah, great. So here's what's cool. A lot of realtors don't know how to do this. Here's what they do. They'll go get a hard money loan and they'll put 20% down because they don't know any better. And then they contact me because they're trying to refinance because they don't want their other mortgage broker to know their finances. This happens all the time, okay? And then because they don't want their other mortgage broker to know about their finances, then I ask them a bunch of questions like, why did you buy the property this way? Why did you put so much down? How much are you out of pocket? You know, then they're like, well, we just want to refinance, but we want our cash back. And then I'm like, unfortunately, you have to be on title now a year. You guys write that down. You now have to be on title a year to get cash back. That rule changed a couple months ago. It goes in effect this month, both Fannie and Freddie. So you got to have competent people before you buy properties. So because they can't get their cash back for a year, well, what if the market corrects some more, another 10%, and their hard money won't go extend a year? Okay, all of these things happen of why you got to work with really competent mortgage professionals as real estate professionals like yourself. So here's what's cool. Here's how the BRRRR works: buy, renovate, refinance, remodel, repeat, right? So now here's the big X factor that people don't figure out until after they buy the property. They don't analyze the repairs, and they go way over budget. Randall and I can tell you, I'm currently the president of UV RIA right now for this year. I can tell tons of people don't figure this out. You got to know your numbers up front, okay?
Yeah.
So sometimes you analyze a property and it takes too much to remodel. That's okay. You just go move on to something else. But the more you vet, the better you get. I'm gonna write that one down, Corey W.
That's good.
The more you vet, the better you get. The more you vet, the better you get. So the reason I want you guys to analyze one property a day for 20 minutes, write 2 offers a week, and own an asset this year. Everyone has that much time, right? You don't have to drive out to the property. The other realtor that you're doing a pocket listing with is going to earn the commission. Have them drive to the property, have them take a video, send it to you, right? You want to be efficient in today's market. So we got 4 minutes left. So how this ties in a bow. I felt inspired based on your guys' energy, which I appreciate, all of you guys that are still on this call. We've pretty much kept everyone. That here's the big conglomerate. One, I showed you how to do long-term planning. Lizzie's a fan of Matt Atkinson now. Okay, you got to plan on 10 years. Hold your properties for at least 10 years, plus or minus a little bit. Do a 1031 exchange. You'll accumulate a lot of wealth. Number 2, we showed you 2 different strategies quickly. I showed you how I bought properties with seller financing, 555, and then I showed you how to do with the BRRRR method. I just bought a property with a 1031 exchange utilizing the BRRRR method. Okay, so I sold a property and I bought a 4-plex using 1031 exchange using BRRRR, just like I'm sharing with you guys today. And number 3, you guys got a lot of notes and content that you can use to help yourself out. So what I love to do for the last 3 minutes is everyone type in their top takeaway. So I love people participating. Type it in the Zoom chat for me. What is your top takeaway from this call? If you guys can type this in the Zoom chat for me, and then Dominic can grab that. What is your top takeaway from this call, please?
Looks like you got a question from Jeff.
Yeah, but I want everyone's top takeaway real quick, please. If everyone can type in their top takeaway. And then Dom, if you can type in, we have a once a month I have a class that I teach. It's complimentary for real estate professionals. Ironically, it's tomorrow night. It's live and virtual from 6 to 7:30 p.m. Dominic Delgado is going to throw it in the chat for you guys. It's called Make Money Before You Buy. It's all focusing on doing your due diligence before you buy the property. So if you guys want to get better at due diligence, from hard money, creative financing, overall financing, negotiating, all I'm going to be focusing on tomorrow for 90 minutes is how to make money before you buy. So if you guys can type in your top takeaway, that would be awesome. Good, I love it. Soul, make it happen. I really need to invest. Richard, need to get more comfortable with hard money lending. Emily, BRRRR, Lizzie, 70% of ARV. John, 555. Wallace, 70% of ARV. Brad, don't underutilize leverage. Rodrigo, 555. Jose, when to sell, improve your asset area. Let's see, Martin, I need to learn real estate jargon better. Cindy, 555. Awesome. Thank you so much. Randall, thank you for allowing me to share today. I hope this served. Raise your hand if this was helpful for you guys. Raise your hand real quick.
That's good.
Good. So here's what I love. Go ahead, Randall. Thank you so much, and look forward to seeing you guys whenever we see you. Go ahead, Randall. Thank you so much.
You bet. Thanks. So make sure you copy that, Dominique, how you make money before you buy, for that webinar, because Matt does these, I think, about once a month, right?
Just once a month.
Yep,
Once
you
a
know,
month.
which is
Yep,
good.
just once a month.
And this is real. And the reason it's real is in February, I bought 2 properties, and I got one from an agent and one was off market. But one I bought for 400,000, sold it for 605 because I was going to hold it and keep it. But I was like, it was so easy to not touch it and sell it for 605. The other one I bought it just under 400 and sold it for 505. I did it all inside the same month, of February. The biggest mistake that I've made in my life is getting divorced. I've done that 3 times. Matt talked about that, is as far as financially, staying on top of things. The second biggest one is not holding more property. And so it is amazing what you can do. I don't know how many of you picked up on this because this is a quick deal. But Matt said he bought his first property for $32,500. And when we looked at it, just using the FIFO, calculator in that, it was about $1.8 million, is what those, ended up being worth. And so how do you complain about that? And you can do this too. There's deals out there right now. People are like, oh my gosh, it's a tough market. Well, I think I just told you I cleared, almost $400,000 in February just using these same things. I should have held those. I just, lost money on a couple other properties and needed to put that money towards those. But those would have been a perfect example of being able to buy something now at a better price than you could have bought, in the height of 2022, and then put those into your portfolio because they would have cash flowed and they would have done cash flowed extremely well. And then in 10 years from now, instead of being worth, the 400 grand more or less each that I bought it, which I got it a great deal anyway, it probably would have been worth, well over $2 million. And so for the, the combined total of both of them. Last thing, before we head out there, again, please copy and pull that out of the chat because it disappears when I close the link with Matt, because, it's worth learning. And then this won't apply to very many of you, but there is a note buying seminar, and it's called a Paper Source Seminar in Las Vegas. It's at the end of April. I will be going with a number of people. I am going to put that, I'll put a link there as well. I would probably copy those. You can see the 22 event, what they had. But what Matt talked about is a conglomeration or a combination of different techniques that he's learned and put to use over the last 15 years, I'd say. Isn't that about right, Matt? 2010-ish, till today. And the more tools you have, the more you learn, the more you earn. And so you want to take advantage of any opportunity you have. On that Paper Source, this one has to do with buying and selling notes, creating notes, ways to finance rental properties, etc. I had one agent that came to me and said, Randall, what do I do with this? I've had 2 brokers look at it and 4 agents, nobody can figure it out. And using what I had learned at a previous Paper Source event, I ended up buying the note, getting a federally backed insurance payment on that note. It cost me $90,000 for a property because I bought the note, took the property over, and 3 weeks later, I sold it for $330,000, and I split that with my agent. And so those are things that you can do if you can just, the more you learn, the more you earn. Mostly we focus on how to cast a bigger net as an agent, how to pick up more people, pull them into your sphere of influence, and how to close more transactions as an agent. But I think it's really important that sometimes, like today, we talk about how you too can build a multi-million-dollar portfolio for yourself, how you can do it quickly, how you can leverage it. Matt talked about, turning basically 1 property into, 3 properties or 4 properties, etc. Powerful, powerful, powerful. Thank you so much, Matt Atkinson. I appreciate you. And this was great. And I would highly encourage anybody and everybody to attend this class that he's doing tomorrow, either on Zoom or in person, because it's going to open up your mind. And if it opens up your mind, it's going to open up your clients' minds as well, because things that you might not be able to do, they can do. And then you set yourself apart as the agent that's not just out there going, pick me because I'm cute and I can help you out. You know, you're saying I can help you get, you know, a huge tax write-off, build a big portfolio, etc. Steve Thorpe, one of my agents, has focused on this exclusively and closes because he's helping people build a financial future. Before we go, John Fiddler said, no, the lower date is last year, so you can just kind of see what happened. The upper date is this year, 2023. If you use the discount code Paper Profit, that's going to give you a $100 discount on it. I've negotiated that because the people that run it are friends of mine. And so you'd have to look at both links to make sense. You can always contact me afterwards if you have any questions. Again, Matt's deal is tomorrow night, and education is great, especially if he's doing it complimentary to agents, because you can use these tools for yourself and your clients. And it's the gift that keeps on giving is education. All right. Thanks, Matt. Appreciate it. And then the address Dominic just put in there, he said it's Draper Intercap Lending, 11781 South Lone Peak Parkway, Suite 200 in Draper. And that's that's if you want to attend in person, or they've got the Zoom link above it. It's there in the chat. So thanks everyone, and appreciate your coming. And we'll keep doing these, same link every week. And most of the time we cover marketing and focusing on bringing in more clients. But today I thought it was important to help you build your future. Thank you.
Thank you, Randall.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you, Matt.
Thanks, Kate. Bye-bye.